So menu number 17, pork sausage patty maple flavored from 2015. Now I've actually done a number of videos that feature the pork sausage patty, whether it was a complete MRE or just the entree itself. So this is a genuine US MRE. It's menu number 17, pork sausage patty maple flavored, also in French here. And it's from Sapaco. It does have a date code on it of 5148, meaning that this was packaged on the 148th day of 2015. Let's go ahead and see what's inside of this one. Another reason I wanted to redo this one is because the one I did from 2010 and the commercial ones I've done, these pork sausage patty MREs are a breakfast menu, and they're kind of known for being probably the sweetest MRE that you can get, to the point of overkill. And they've been kind of called a diabetic nightmare. And the thing that's interesting is I think that Natick listened and they changed the menu up from what it was in 2010. I think it was around 2012 that they changed it. And this actually has quite a bit less in it, but yet it still counts as an MRE. So another thing I want to do is I want to do a full calorie count based on the nutritional information on these packages. But here we have right away the pork sausage patty maple flavored. And this has a date code on it of 5106. And on the bottom we have the sleeve that has the ingredients. Some pretty big writing. There's not a lot of ingredients in this one. And the nutrition facts. Also have nut raisin mix, which is going to have peanuts, raisins, walnuts, almonds, filberts, and cozeine. And then we have some plain crackers, date code of 5139, and plain cheese spread to put on that. We have the maple muffin top. Now it's just called maple muffin, and it's trans fat free too, TFF. Another change, a little minor change from 2010. Oh, we have a lemon lime carbohydrate electrolyte beverage powder. I was actually expecting this to be an orange one. The regular orange beverage-based powder is kind of like Tang, so it feels like more of a breakfast kind of a drink. And we have the table syrup, spoon, hot beverage bag, flameless ration heater. Hopefully this one will work good. It's pretty recent, it should be fine. And the accessory pack. Let's see what's in here. This has a date code of 5142. Accessory pack A. And this has Genial Instant Coffee. I don't think I've seen this brand before. Hopefully that'll be fine. The military-looking creamer non-dairy dry. Sugar. Salt. Moist towelette. Matches. Toilet paper. And chewing gum, which looks a little worse for the wear. The outer coating is cracked. Okay, and here's everything that we're getting in this MRE. Now I had mentioned that there was some change between the 2010 one that I did a few years ago and this 2015 one. And I'd also mentioned that this has traditionally been probably the sweetest MRE out there. If you have a sweet tooth, that's not really a problem, but if you don't, it was kind of overkill. And what they did to change it, it seems like they changed up some stuff and got rid of some stuff. The older one had granola with milk and blueberries, which was actually a really nice breakfast touch, to have that little granola cereal along with your pork sausage patty. That was actually really good, so I'm not really sure why they got rid of that one. And it seems to have been replaced by the nut raisin mix. And the other thing they had that really kind of put it over the top as far as sweetness was the toaster pastry. That was kind of a standard thing. It was also in a lot of the commercial versions of this MRE. And when you already have the maple muffin top, the maple flavored pork sausage patty, and the syrup, it just kind of made for a lot of sweet stuff. And even the cheese spread that they put in this actually replaced the apple butter. Apple butter is really good, but also on the sweet side. So I guess if they were actually thinking of trying to make it less sweet, this kind of makes it a little bit more on the savory side than the sweet side. Let's go ahead and prepare the pork sausage patty and get everything else ready. And another difference that I noticed between the MRE from 2010 and this one from 2015 is that the entree is actually smaller. These pork sausage patties are definitely not a full-sized MRE entree, which is usually 8 ounces. But the one in 2010 was actually 3.5 ounces, and this one was only 2.6. I know that the companies that make the MREs do have some slight differences, but that's almost a whole ounce less. So anyway, it's a pretty small entree, and the fact that they've gotten rid of the toaster pastry and the granola cereal, it just seems to be not a ton of food. But either way, let's go ahead and heat this one up. It seems to be going just fine. So there are a few other things you could put into the flameless ration heater in this one. You could certainly heat up the maple muffin top if you wanted, and the cheese spread. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make the coffee in the flameless ration heater, something I don't usually do. Hot beverage bag. And I'll go ahead and put the coffee, creamer, and sugar all in here. Close this bag. And it doesn't look all that great in there right now, but I'll shake it up now. It's starting to look like coffee. And I like to take as much of the air out of the bag as I can if I'm going to do this in a flameless ration heater. And I'll slide this on the other side of the heating element. Right over the top, stuff this whole thing into the cardboard sleeve. And then we'll place it at an angle on a rock or something. And give that about 10 minutes or so to heat up. Alright, we'll take a look at the nut and raisin mix. Oops, just lost the peanut. Biggest problem I always have with this is that they're not salted. It's just kind of funny because MRE is such a salty thing. It's just sort of interesting to get kind of a bland nut raisin mix. Raisins add a little bit of a sweetness to it, and it's fine overall. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I wouldn't mind it being a little bit salty. We have the maple muffin, formerly known as the maple muffin top, before it became trans fat free. And so like I said, this could have been heated up, and then it would. This the idea is it's kind of like a pancake, or hot cake, however you want to say it. And this is the thing that you would put the syrup on. It smells really sweet. The maple smell really comes through on that. We have our crackers. Let's see if we can get a hiss out of these. Yep. A little bit smashed in one corner, but not too bad. And they smell fine, just like a flour paste. Very, very plain smell, nothing interesting about it. But it's definitely what you want to smell when you open up a pack of crackers. You don't want it to smell bleachy or bad. And we'll put some of the plain cheese spread on that. Get that a good knead. Get all the oils mixed back in. And there's your nice, natural-looking day-glow cheese look to it. And the only other thing to eat in here is the table syrup. It has 80 calories. And we'll try that on a few things when we're ready to eat. So that just leaves us with our beverages. Our coffee is in the flameless ration heater with the Entree. So since we're using the hot beverage bag for the coffee, I'm just going to go ahead and mix it up in a glass. And this is in one of the long pouches. There's only about this much powder in here, so you could conceivably mix it up in here. But it's not one of the zip top ones, so it generally will probably make, kind of make a mess. So instead we'll just go ahead and use 12 ounces of water and mix it right up here in this glass. I mentioned the day glow color of the cheese, and now we'll see the classic lemon lime beverage base powder color. And give that a good stir. And just because this is such a large glass, I'm just going to go ahead and transfer some into a smaller glass for the tray. And now we'll go ahead and see how the pork sausage patty and the coffee heated up. Here's the coffee. It's definitely got some heat to it. Looks and smells fine. And let's go ahead and check out the sausage patty. Still some heat coming off of this. It's a good sign. And I can definitely feel the backside is very hot where it was against the flameless ration heater, and there's some heat coming all the way through. So it's not too bad. I probably could have left it in there for a few more minutes. And this actually looks like it's vacuum sealed. And it also has the tear notches on the long side. I guess the idea being that it'd be easier to eat right out of the pouch. You definitely get that smell of maple right away. It smells a lot like a McDonald's sausage biscuit or sausage McMuffin. And I think, like I said, this is one of my favorite entrees, really. I really do enjoy this. But I think it all depends on how much you like sweetness. And I really can see that. I mean, I like this because I like sweet stuff. But despite the fact that it's sausage, the sweetness, I could see how it could be a turnoff. But there is our 2.6 ounce pork sausage patty. And now it's time to try this out. Start with the sausage while it's still warm. The heater seemed to work fine. Didn't get it hot or anything, but it is definitely heated up. And there's the pork sausage patty. Yeah, obviously it's a very processed kind of a thing. I mean, it is sausage, so it breaks up pretty easily. It has a really nice sausage flavor though, and the maple really does come through. It's probably the thing that may not be for everyone, but it's very tasty. And I think the overall sweetness has come down in this, which maybe that would make it a little bit more acceptable for some people to have the sweetness in the sausage, since it isn't so overwhelming with everything else. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's too much more to say about that. It's like a good breakfast sausage, like breakfast links that you get in a grocery store, like the frozen ones, with that little added extra sweetness of the maple flavoring. I'm gonna try the instant coffee. Yeah, that definitely could be hotter. The flameless ration heater, obviously that doesn't get up to a boiling temperature, so it only gets it up to about 160 degrees. And I didn't really leave it in long enough to get up even to that, but it is definitely warm. And it seems to be a good blend. It's obviously it has the creamer and the sugar in it too, but this Genial, it does taste a little bit different from the other brands and the generic packages you get in some of the other MREs. Like I said, this is the first time I've seen this one, and it seems to be pretty good. I'm going to try this nut raisin mix. Yeah, I got a little bit of everything in there. Peanuts, walnuts. I guess these are the filberts. And a couple of raisins too. Actually, I don't think I got an almond in that. But yeah, it does seem to be a good combination. You get a lot of different nut flavors. Obviously, they're all kind of sort of similar, but the walnuts they make it a little bit different. And then the raisins do add a little bit of a sweetness. But overall, I do almost feel sorry for the nut raisin mix, just because it really doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's just the nuts. The raisins give it a little bit of flavor, but it doesn't really have any saltiness to it. I think a little bit of salt in there would be a nice touch. And I'll try the cracker with the cheese spread. A little cracker on its own. Wow, that really fell apart. Yeah, it definitely seems to be fine, as you'd expect from a cracker from 2015. It almost seems a little bit on the stale side. It just doesn't seem to quite have the crispiness that you usually expect from it. Definitely nothing's gone bad. It just maybe just slightly going stale despite the vacuum seal. But then we try it with the cheese spread, and it'll be a whole different experience. Yep, definitely. You don't really even notice the cracker at that point. Cracker is just kind of a transportation for the cheese spread. And I know the cheese spread isn't for everybody. I personally like it. It's pretty salty. It's kind of a nice, it actually makes kind of a nice balance between the sweetness and then the saltiness of the cheese. I guess the idea is probably the nut raisin mix does the same thing too, but as I already said, it's not very salty. But yeah, it's got kind of a cheddar sort of a flavor to it. And it's just kind of fun. It's like Cheese Whiz, like cheese in a can, which of course a lot of people don't like that, and so they won't like this either. And we'll give our maple muffin top a try. As I said, this is very sweet. You can feel it's like your hands get kind of like oily and sticky from it. But this is very moist. It seems to be very fresh. Pretty spongy. No, it's very good. Once again, if you don't really like sweet stuff, maybe not for you, but I really think it's good. And it even has some different kind of textures to it. It has the cake texture in the inside, but the outside almost has a little bit of a crust to it. It's almost a little bit crunchy with the sweetness on it. And I really do like that. Lemon lime electrolyte beverage base powder. One of your standard MRE tastes. It's fine. I like it. It's also sweet. It's another sweet element to this one. If you really don't want the sweetness, you could just have plain water. Although you would be missing out on the 90 calories that this gives you. And it does seem a little bit surprising to find lemon lime beverage in this breakfast menu instead of a plain orange beverage base powder, which, like I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, really does kind of taste like Tang in it. Very breakfasty. Closest thing you can get to orange juice in an MRE. So the last thing we haven't tried is the table syrup. To me, this is an unnecessary thing. You really don't need it on anything. The sweet stuff is already sweet enough, and there really isn't too much else you put it on. I can't really see putting it on the nut raisin mix. I suppose it's possible to make it very sticky, but if you wanted to give that some flavor, that certainly would do that. But for the sake of the review, we're going to try some on the maple muffin top and the sausage. Like I said, I don't think it needs it. The sausage is already maple flavored, and this table syrup is naturally and artificially maple flavored. But we'll give it a go. And let's finish up by giving those a try. Here's the sausage with the extra syrup on it. And the syrup seems to be pretty good quality syrup, but you don't really need it. It's just you don't need it on this sausage that's already maple flavored. If it wasn't maple flavored, I'd say it actually goes really good with it. And it certainly adds an extra element to it. Let's try our maple muffin top, which is now a maple flavored pancake for all intents and purposes. Yeah, that does work. It's kind of like McDonald's hotcakes. So I guess this meal is kind of like hotcakes and sausage that you can get at McDonald's. Once again, we're going into the fast food arena, but this is a lot like it. It's this prepackaged food that's very much processed and not like a real natural kind of a thing. But that's kind of like what you can compare it to. I prefer the maple muffin top by itself. It's very good on its own, but it does add kind of a little interesting flavor kind of element there. Changes the profile, definitely. Turns it from a muffin into a pancake. So let's try some hotcakes and sausage. Yeah, that goes good too. A little bit on the sweet side, but not bad. Normally I would consider the maple muffin top to be the dessert, but in this case it really kind of becomes the side. So let's look at an MRE, menu number 17, pork sausage patty, maple flavored, from 2015. And as always, thank you for watching. Wow, that really fell apart.